called to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We were here and ready to go. However, we had some technical difficulties and wanted to ensure that we were online. If we could move to roll call, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dadaberg,
Here.
Mr. Bauer,
Here.
Ms. Gray,
Here.
Mr. Kirshner, and Ms. Walsh.
All right. If we could move to item 3, our review of a belief statement and board norms, Mr. Vice President, please.
We believe all cruisers are valuable. We will unconditionally serve, support, and inspire. Therefore, every cruiser will maximize their unique purpose, potential, and power to produce the results they want. As leaders of the district, we will always strive to support the mission and vision of the district, be prepared, informed, and ready for meetings, respect one another as elected representatives of the community, be open-minded, and recognize one another's strengths, the value of diverse perspectives, and mutual commitment to the mission and vision of the district. Allow members to complete their thoughts and statements before others comment. Allow members to be heard and listen to all perspectives with an open mind. Stay focused on the task at hand and respectfully redirect each other when needed. Maintain confidentiality and communicate per board policies. Ensure trust and transparency in all dealings. And after a vote is cast, leave meetings united as one voice no matter the outcome.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And now we are on to our agenda approval. If we could have like
So moved.
Second.
I'd have Ms. Gray first and Mr. Bauer second. If we could have roll call, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dadaberg,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
All right, motion passes. Now that we have an agenda, we are up for public participation, and I have a couple. Thank you for everyone who came out to speak tonight. All meetings of the board or board-appointed committees are open to the public. In order for the Board of Education to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation may be permitted at each regular Board of Education meeting. Each person addressing the Board of Education shall give his or her name, address, phone number, organization representative, any and pertinent background information. If several people wish to speak, each person is allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had an opportunity to do so. Persons desiring more time should make the request in writing to the Board of Education office or email public.comment@gocruisers.org 7 days prior to the scheduled meeting. The period of public participation may be extended by majority vote of board members present and voting. Please remember that the law prohibits discussion of specific employees or their job performance at a public meeting. State law does allow for discussions by board members regarding employees in executive sessions of the board. So first I have Brian Casserly. If you come to the podium, please.
Hello, I'm Brian Casserly. I live at 385 Main Street in Groveport, Ohio. I lived there since 1998. And I would like to ask that the board members consider making a motion to start having 2 board meetings a month. Here we are, another emergency board meeting. I think that's the 6th time this year. That's 6 months in a row. Why not just go ahead and schedule 2 board meetings a month? And next thing I'd like to ask is that we're missing a couple of board members. I think we should table any type of motion of amendments to contracts until we can have a regular board meeting when all the board members are here. That's it.
Thank you. Next, Elizabeth Simcox.
My name's Elizabeth Simcox. I live at 4452 Drycott Street, Groveport, Ohio. I am concerned about the amendment that you're planning on making to the superintendent's contract. I have checked the original contract. well, one thing is the contract has actually been altered a total of 3 times since it was approved on July 27th, 2022. There was an amended contract made September 28th, 2022. Then a second amendment, which is called the First Amendment, in your documents was approved on February 16th of this year. And now you're adding a third amendment, which you're listing as the Second Amendment, to change the contract even further, and the contract for the 25 to 30, 2025 to 2030. The base salary in the initial contract was $175,000. The board approved a $15,000 increase on February 16th of this year, and now you're looking to do a $25,000 increase in the base salary. That's 22%. Actually, it's 22.85% in just 2 years. In section 5, there is it's just confusion as to what you're doing, because you've got it labeled as 5A, B, C, D, all the way through G. But you're making changes to section 5 without listing whether or not you're replacing those or these are addition. It appears that you're adding a 25% of base salary annuity, but it doesn't say whether you're replacing the annuity that you currently have. It appears that you're adding $7,200 car allowance, but it doesn't appear that you're replacing the $3,600 car allowance. You're changing the standard work year from 260 days to 230 days. You're adding vacation days. I mean, there's a 11.38% reduction in the days worked. There is a change in your per diem from $673 to $1,000, and that's if you're basing it on the base salary, but your contract says that it will be based on the sum of the superintendent's earnings for the full
Thank you.
contract year
Thank
as
you.
set forth
Ms.
in
Simpson,
section
Ms.
4 and
Simcox, time is
section
up.
5,
Thank you.
divided by
Time is up. Time
215
is up.
days
Can you turn the
instead
mic
of
off?
the
Thank you.
230
We want to go
days.
to the next person. If they'd like more time, you could ask. However, the time was given, ma'am. We're going to do things respectfully with everyone. So if there's anything else that you needed, right now, Ms. Irvin, next person. We're going to go through the list. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Ann Raver Irving. I live at 349 Tallman Street in Groveport, and I'm a retired Groveport teacher, having taught for 30 years French, German, and Spanish in this district. My concern also is salaries, and I want to approach that from a contrast. Let me ask a quick question. How many students do we have in the district? Oh, okay. Well, doesn't matter. It's a minor thing. But if we contrast the salary of Ohio's Governor Michael DeWine, and Ohio has a 10 million plus population, Governor DeWine makes a year $168,106 a year. And he's a fine administrator and has done great things for the state of Ohio. But I would like you to consider that as a contrast to the salaries that we are offering here in Groveport. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And then I think the last person we have is Miss Kim Yada Kamala.
Okay, so I'm Kenyatta Conwell. I'm a Groveport parent, supporter, and educator. I count this as a privilege because I get to see and experience both sides of the coin, the good, the bad, and the ugly sides. I stand in complete support of this board and the Groob Smathers team as reported on social media. What I do not support is the continuous negativity that is spewed about this team that has been chosen to guide our educational system. I believe that if you are not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. For those of us who do not do this work, you may not know and or understand that our job does not end at 5 p.m. on Friday. You are constantly thinking of ways to improve your instruction, make your building better. How can you improve positive parent support? How can you better engage your students in the classroom? How can you show teacher appreciation and much, much more? In no other profession are salaries questioned the way they are in education. Let's be honest, it was a teacher who got us all here to where we are today. And yet many of us sit and question what the compensation for that job should or should not be. Our children are watching us complain and make false accusations on social media of the very people who work in efforts to make Groveport a successful district for all of the students and families they serve. Our children need consistency in and out of the classroom. And if we want to debate what people are paid for the work they do, that can and will lead to consistent turnover. Just like those who do not work in education desire to be paid their worth, those of us who work in education desire and deserve the same. What amazes me is how the complaints and comments on social media do not match the work and suggestions. It's simple. Put your work where your mouth is. What are our children supposed to think about their district when all they see is negativity and attacks? Speaking poorly of our administration, then question why our children are disrespectful to administration. We complain about fights and bullying, things that make you go, Not supporting the board as a whole serves no purpose and actually makes it harder to accomplish a better educational experience for our children. Education is not add water and stir, it takes time to build. Each group of students are different each year, which means what worked last year may not work this year. So you must be willing to reevaluate and make adjustments. If we are not willing to compensate those responsible for doing the work, then we'll lose them. It's just like a relationship. What you're not willing to do, another man or woman will. I truly believe that we have in Superintendent Group and Mr. Smathers and the rest of this board a group of people who care about our children. I implore those who sit on the sidelines and constant attack of our board president. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who spoke today. Appreciate everyone's comments and those who came to the board meeting this evening. On to the next item of our agenda, which is going to be item E. It is recommended that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the amendments to the superintendent's contract.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Gray first, Mr. Bowers second. I do want to open it up for any board members if they have any comments at this time.
Yes, I would like to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Having continuity in our leadership team in a school district is imperative. Every time you change the top leadership, it takes at least 3 years to start doing anything, because you have your first year, just them getting to know the district, getting to know their leadership. Second year, getting their cabinets built together with the same mindset to move the district forward. And the third year is making a plan for our academics. We cannot continue to go through this path of going and repeating new superintendents every 3 years. We're never going to move our district forward if we do not do that. We have to be able to meet the demand that is out there for compensation. Our competition is other districts in Franklin County. We are not the top paid position. We have to be able to compete. And to keep leadership here, we have to compete. We have to be able to be willing to pay the compensation that is needed to get good leadership and consistency.
I would just also like to add that I'm proud about the foundation that has been set under this leadership, and starting off with having a unified safety plan addressing safety within our school district. So I'm proud about where we've been and where we're headed, and we're headed in the right direction.
Thank you, my colleagues. I wanted to make a clarification specifically on this. Is not an emergency board meeting. This is a special board meeting, and there's different terms and grounds under the Ohio Revised Code that would constitute this being an emergency board meeting. So for those that are watching or whatever will make social media, this was a special board meeting, and all of the requirements according to the Ohio Revised Code was also triple checked through our legal counsel to ensure we were in compliance tonight. So just want to make sure that was clear. Also, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 3319.01, the contracts may be amended to increase compensation. As an HR professional, I am seeing things in the salary space that I've never seen in all areas, especially licensed professionals, whether it's engineers in the hospital or just an engineer in general, architects, and now in education, our doctors, lawyers, what people are making coming out of school is not what it used to be. Groveport is a very unique school district, and one thing I will say that Mr. Group served as our deputy for 2 years prior to becoming our superintendent, so he has a rapport with the community, which takes time, as Ms. Gray has mentioned so eloquently, that our superintendents, when they come, they have to have that time to get to know, get their feet wet. So having someone in the C-suite role that has an understanding of our needs, our demographics, our ever-changing demographics. Let's say that Groveport 10 years ago is not Groveport today. So I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear and stomach, but that is where we are. We have seen nationally principal and administrator shortages. Um, our district is very unique. We have not had a long-term superintendent. I did pull the numbers for myself, and we've only had the max, at least since 2000 and I want to say six. It is. We only had. They've been here for 6 years. So the one prior to Jamie was 4, and the two before that were only here 6 years. When we look at high achieving academic school districts and such, they at least had one superintendent that was there for at least 10 years. So what am I saying? We need that kind of time to have the right people in place to get where we need to be. And a lot of our key folks, especially I'll use Miss Carol Morbitzer, she doesn't mind. She was teacher of the year, did a lot of great work at Hamilton. We were able to get that talent here in our district, which I know Miss Gray mentioned on several occasions prior to my start here with the board, that she wanted them to come several years ago and is excited that her and her husband is here to really help us with our innovation, accountability, and our academics. So with having a superintendent that's able to, most people work with people they want to work with, unless you're in positions where you don't have a choice. But in this case, you choose where you want to work. You spend your most time with people that you work with. And if people were willing to leave where they were to come and be the change, this is not an easy district. We're constantly on the news, we're constantly in social media, and we have some administrators willing to come here, roll up their sleeves, get involved to make the change that we wish to see, regardless of what social media or the news is saying. And that was even mentioned by one of our students during graduation, that us three were able to hear during that time about what the media portrays this district. But we saw excellence at graduation. We have I think it's 91%, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't want to be quoted on that, but we can look that up, graduation rate. So despite of all the things that are happening, our students are still graduating. We have ways to go. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I think with Mr. Group here and us doing what's right and comparable, because what someone else won't do, someone else will. So if we don't do it, we will lose that. If there's no additional comments, did you want to say anything, Mr. Group, or you're good? I just want to make sure before I move on.
I'll wait for the vote.
Sounds good. If we roll call Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dadaberg,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Group.
So first, I want to say thank you. In the vote of confidence and the focus that we are going to continue on a path, recognition that it is a very competitive market and the desire for the district to have consistency in the leadership. And when I say leadership, I don't just mean me, I mean the leadership team, that we're really putting things in place. We're focusing on making this improvement from a long-term goal and perspective. And I couldn't agree with Mrs. Gray more that that's where change happens. If there is constant frequent turnover, you're in that reset mode, you're in the onboarding and acclimation time. And I hope that we can continue to build upon and strengthen relationships with our families, with local government agencies, and just with the community in general, that we're doing the right thing. You see proof in the results that we're good stewards of resources, and we're improving outcomes and learning for kids. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I do want to leave with one leadership quote. The thing is, continuity of strategic direction and continuous improvement in how you do things are absolutely consistent with each other. In fact, they're mutually reinforcing, and I see that with this administration. Yes, it's different. We're not doing what we've always done, and that's a part of that continuous improvement as well as that strategic direction. And you will see more of that from this district. So, thank you for that. On to item F, Mr. Superintendent.
The certificated HR report, the superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the certificated HR report items.
So moved.
Second.
All right, have Ms. Gray first, Mr. Bowers second.
I don't know if there's any explanation needed. It is a new assistant principal for the high school, and we do not have her here tonight, but she's going to come to our June 12th board meeting so we can introduce her. Really excited to have her come in. And then you can see that there are some resignations and retirements this type of year. HR happens quickly, so we wanted to try to put as many HR items on the agenda as possible. And then we also approved our summer school teachers and coordinators.
Yep, that was the
I
plan.
had a question on the summer school. How many students do we have in summer school?
I'm sorry, Miss Gray, I don't have that number. I can get that to you guys. I will tell you that summer school's underway and we have kids working hard.
So there's a couple different ways the summer school is happening. At the high school, it's a credit recovery program. And these are the high school teachers. At our younger grades, it is a combination of a partnership that is tutors provided to us at no cost to the district, along with we have a group of about, is it like 28, 30 kids, that 45 kids that go to the rec center in the afternoons. We have that partnership with, there's instruction in the morning, we transport them over to the rec center to do some fun and physical activities in the afternoon. Not that learning isn't fun, I didn't mean it that way, but
We know what you meant.
Is it every day?
is Monday through Thursday.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, if there's no additional questions or comments, if we could have roll call, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dauberberger,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Motion passes. On to item G, Mr. Superintendent.
The superintendent recommends the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the non-certificated HR report items as attached.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Gray, Mr. Bowers, second. Any comments, Mr. Superintendent?
Actually, I'd probably let Mr. Collier, the one of these positions is a hire for him.
Yeah, the fiscal specialist position is a hire for my department. So, Mrs. Rhodes applied and got the job, and she starts June 24th.
Awesome. All right, any questions from the board? No more comments? Okay. On to roll call, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dauberberger,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
All right, motion passes. On to adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Gray, Mr. Bauer. We have roll call, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Mrs. Dauberberger,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
All right, the time is 8:09. This meeting is adjourned.